in this particular session, we are going to talk about how exactly we can prepare for AWS Cloud Practitioner exam. I hope that is the motive with which you have come here. But before going further, I would really need to understand, I would really like to understand, okay, what is the motivation uh, behind this cloud certification for you? Okay, I already have a question here. I will definitely take this up. Okay, any other person what kind of motivation do you have for this exam? What is the reason you want to give this exam? Anyone? Okay. So a person, Kiran has asked this question. What kind of questions would be asked in the expected? We have a lot of sample questions at the end. I will definitely go through those. I think that is the reason we have this particular meetup session. So we'll go through that. And no, it will not be very deep. We just need to understand the basic concepts of all the resources available in AWS, and I will go through them, obviously, in this course. And so that means just an overview is really fine, right? Okay, add the skills in resume. Makes sense. Yeah. Cool. With that, let us move on. So I would like to give some introduction about our company Data Couch here. So we are training and professional training and consultancy company in big data space. We provide training in various domain, including big data, cloud, data engineer. So we are one of the leading IT training consultancy based out of India. And then we have a lot of browser-based solutions whenever we provide trainings to our customers, or then we have a lot of browser-based solution where you can directly go log in and do all kinds of practice. So we have a lot of many services as well, which we provide to our customers. As I said, we are a consultancy company as well, other than the training. So we do have keep these kinds of meetup sessions so that we could provide our knowledge or share our knowledge with the larger audience, right? And then everyone should be able to grow with us. Some more brief about Data Couch. So we have already trained 150,000 plus participants all over the world. We have a lot of companies who take training from us from USA, Asian, European countries. We provide technology in 75 plus different technologies all over the world. We have training centers based out of India, Singapore, and other European regions. So we mostly focus on Web3, generative AI. Data is a very big market where we provide our services. Then we have DevOps, cloud, right? We are a certified company from various organizations, including Google, Confluent, Starbucks, and many more, right? These are some of the footprints. That means we have provided trainings to all these companies, from Google to TCS to Sabre, Microsoft. All these companies we have already provided our services, right? So the reason behind these kind of meetups, which we organize very frequently, if you go to our website or if you go to our LinkedIn page, you will see that we have these kind of sessions almost every week, where we provide knowledge free of cost to all the community. That we have 10,000 plus members globally on Meetup, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, right? We have already organized 100 plus meetup sessions on various technologies, including data, cloud, generative AI, and other technologies, right? We are education partner for Confluent, CIO Insider. We got an award for being the global education partner from Confluent for the year of 2022, right? We have people who are industry trained and they are working for many of the big FANG companies as well, right? We are the first delivery partner for Starbucks. So Starbucks is a company based out of US which provides training, which not provides training, but they have a data warehousing tool which is based out of Trino, which is based on Trino, Apache Trino framework, and this is very fast moving product in that domain. So we are the official partner for them as well, right? So before moving further, I would really want to have this session as interactive. We have a good amount of participants, so let us see where do we really stand for now. So anyone who can let me know who is a cloud engineer, right? Whom can we call a cloud engineer? Anyone? Just write anything. One who works on cloud. That will work. Okay. So this is our agenda. If anyone feels like talking, please unmute yourself and talk, or you can chat. That's fine. So we'll talk about. Okay, someone there. Okay, so this is our agenda for today. We'll talk about who is a cloud engineer. We'll talk about AWS and its architecture. We'll see what all various services do we have in AWS, right? Uh, we will talk about cloud practitioner exam. That is the main focus for our here. So there are a lot of tricks which we will talk about here in order to clear that exam, and we will have some sample questions as well. And based on the sample questions, you will know that okay, this is the architecture, this is the kind of questions you will definitely be seeing in the exam, right? So first is, who's a cloud engineer? So any person, any engineer or IT professional who is responsible or works in any of these domains on cloud, starting from programming to networking, DevOps, database management, any of these services or all of these services, some of these services, any person who works on these on cloud, we call them as cloud engineer. There will not be one person who will be working on all the technologies or some any of these technologies that works. So we will call as state cloud engineer. Cloud engineer will encompass DevOps engineer. It will have network engineer. You can have data engineer. You can have developers, right? All those person who works on cloud, we will call as cloud engineer, right? How many of you, I will share the slides, no worry. How many of you are cloud engineer? Can you write +1 in the chat if you're a cloud engineer? Okay, none of you. Okay, then it's a really good starting point for you guys uh, to uh, to get started with this exam, because that will be very helpful for you to understand how a cloud engineer works. And if you are working, if you feel like, or if you have that ambition to work in cloud domain, then it would be really great. It's a really good starting point for you. Let us talk about AWS Cloud, right? So we talked about cloud engineer. Who is a cloud engineer? Then what is a cloud? That is another question, right? So in a very basic sense, what is a cloud? Cloud, you can say that any services provided by any services provided over the internet are cloud, right? So AWS is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud. So we have a lot of services are provided by AWS, not just the basic one. So, and we call it comprehensive because there are 200 fully featured services provided by AWS on cloud, which are available on your laptop itself, right? So they have data centers available globally. So there are millions of customers. It's a very fast growing, right? It provides services to startups, enterprises, and as per this data which you can see, which we have got it from Statista, it has 34% market share in cloud, followed by Azure, then GCP, then Alibaba Cloud, and then Salesforce, Oracle. So you will see that, okay, so you can see that this is really as it has 34% market share. That means you will have ample amount of opportunities working on cloud if you have cloud certification on AWS. That doesn't mean that you should not think about GCP or Azure. Definitely in coming years down the lane, AWS, GCP are picking up the pace, but currently AWS is the market leader. So there will be more opportunities, or whatever reason you have for giving this exam, AWS is a good choice, right? So in 2022, the market of cloud infrastructure was 217 billion, and it will grow exponentially. That is definitely very sure. In the market, you will see that a lot of opportunities are coming up for a cloud engineer role, right? Okay. So this is a very simple basic AWS architecture, how exactly AWS or any of the cloud works, right? So you will have a user. That user will be able to connect to AWS services using internet. In AWS, we'll have applications, we'll have database or storage mechanism, we'll have management, for example, the security part, who exactly can access those resources, who cannot access the resources, how to secure yourself from attacks, right? All those things are part of DDoS, are part of security, right? And then you will see why exactly AWS. Then we have 100 plus availability zones. So we have 200 plus featured services. When we say featured services, that means where our application will deploy, where your database will deploy. All those services, if you are from IT background, you will know that there are a lot of databases, right? So we're talking about AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, Dhanush. So that is the basic exam AWS takes. So we want to understand how exactly we can clear that exam, and we are talking about it, right? So there are 240 plus countries and territories. So this is this is the very basic slide where we showcase how exactly how AWS works. So when I say these availability zones, maybe we'll just talk a brief about what is availability zones and regions. Hey, Akshay, can you mute yourself? Akshay, can you mute yourself? Thank you so much. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please don't worry. You can always unmute and ask your questions. Right. So there we have AWS regions and in that we'll have availability zones. Regions is where exactly the data center. So when you say cloud, that doesn't mean it's on the cloud, right? So there should be some data centers available or somewhere from where we can connect over the internet. So you can see that AWS has regions on all these places, right? You can see my screen. Yes. So you can see that they have a lot of regions. For now, it says that it has 32 geographic regions, and in those 32 geographic, there are 102 availability zones. That means inside one region, there will be different data centers. You'll have, okay, in Hyderabad regions, uh, we have 3 availability zones. That means 3 data centers in one region. It's available in Hyderabad. Then we have, I think, Mumbai region. So in India, there are only 2 regions, right? Whereas in US, you can see there are 7 regions already, and one is coming soon. Oh, it's Canada. Okay, Canada one is coming soon. We have already 6 regions in US, 6 or 7. Right. So why do we have multiple availability zones in a particular region? Why not just one data center? The reason being that in case of any failure in one availability zone for a network failure or any disaster, right? Anything, they always have a backup in another availability zone. For example, if you deploy an application in Hyderabad region, they will make sure that your application is deployed in 3 different availability zones. So if any one data center goes down, your other your application will not go down because it will start working from the another availability zone. So that is the reason in each that is the reason every region will have multiple availability zones. All in all, we'll have 102 availability zones in AWS, and they are adding up. I have heard that they will be adding another region in India and Delhi. So this is the latest picture for now, right? Then moving on. So these are some of the services provided. These are one of the base or major services provided by the AWS. As I said, there are 200 plus services, and these are some of the major ones. So when we talk about compute, we'll have the basic one, the EC2. So when we talk about EC2, what exactly is EC2 machine? Anyone? What is EC2? You can write on the chat as well. Okay, it's for hosting servers. Okay, you can say that. It's a virtual server. Yes. So it's kind of a virtual computer you can rent on AWS. When you say computer means just storage and storage services and computing services. So that is the EC2 machine. One storage, one computing. So the word combined, we'll have EC2, elastic compute on cloud, so EC2. So this is the basic building block of AWS, right? All the services which you are seeing here, right? Almost all of them will be running on EC2. You can build your own services using just EC2 instance, or you can use their managed services. For example, you can deploy your own server or own database server on EC2 machines, or you can use their already deployed managed server using RDS, right? Database server, relationship database server system. So EC2 is the basic building block. So that is, and then that we have another other options, resources in compute from Lambda. For example, you want to run a very small Python code which will run in 2 minutes and then finish. Do you want to manage your own EC2 instance? Maybe you want to run a very small Python code, okay, which will fetch the data from here and put the data here, very small. You may not want to want to create an EC2 machine, run your Python code there, and then delete the EC2 machine. Why do we delete the EC2 machine? So that we don't pay for it. So it's a pay as per use model, right? So in the Lambda, you can directly run a Python code, and there are other languages supported as well. I'm just giving an example that you can run a Python code, it will do all the things, and then that's it. You don't need to worry about creating an EC2 machine and deleting it. So if you work for 10 seconds, we'll pay for only for 10 seconds. So that is the reason we have Lambda here. There are other things like, for example, you can only run the code for 10 minutes and all those things. But the basic reason for using the Lambda is so that you can quickly do, right? Then we have Elastic Beanstalk, where you can deploy your applications. For example, Akshay said that it's for hosting servers, right? So you can host your application on EC2 machine, or they have provided another service, Elastic Beanstalk, where you can deploy your applications. Then we have networking. So for example, you in an organization, you have multiple companies. For example, let's talk about Google, right? So Alphabet has multiple companies. So you may need to want to create one organization, and in one organization you may want to have multiple companies. So you do not want one company to have any kind of access into another company. In that case, you can have VPN, virtual private. So inside one virtual private cloud, you can have multiple VPN networks, so that you can control the access between one organization, or uh, between one organization to another, right? Then we have EMR. So EMR in analytics, we have EMR, that is called as Elastic Map Reduce. And when you want to process huge amount of data, you may not be able to do it in one EC2 machine. You may need 100 EC2 machines, right? So there should be some kind of so either you can create your own multiple machines and try to see how exactly you can run on multiple EC2s, or you can use EMR using Spark. If anyone has worked on Spark, they would know that you can run those services on EMR. Spark services, you can process you can process data parallelly on EMR, right? So these are some of the analytics work. Then we have developer tools. You can, for example, code commit is nothing but GitHub, right? Code pipeline, code deploy is similar to CI/CD pipelines, if anyone of you has worked on that. Then we have security, right? And who exactly can access these services, right? So that will all come under security. Management tools, if somebody has done something wrong, and how would you exactly found it out? You can use CloudTrail for that, right? Because everything, whatever you do on your cloud console or AWS, everything will be there as logs. So then you can go to CloudTrail and see exactly what exactly happened, who exactly did it. Then storage and content delivery. Then this is the basic storage services provided by AWS, that is called as S3. So here you can store any kind of data from basic CSV file to images or anything, any kind of data you can store it here, right? Then we have application services. Then we have mobile services. Not mobile services, here we have something known as device farm. This may not be so the thing is, the idea of this exam is you should know all the services, just know overview. If I say, okay, what exactly this EMR does, you should know that, okay, this is the use of EMR. How exactly it does, you don't need to worry about for this exam. But what does this EMR do, you should know, right? Then we have S3. Okay, you know that, okay, if we need to store loads of images, maybe thousand billion millions of images, so if a question comes, and then maybe you know that, okay, all the images can be stored in S3, so S3 should be the right answer, right? So you should know you should know, have the understanding of what each service does, right? Then we have a device farm. As I was saying, device farm is, for example, you are a mobile application developer, and then when your application build any kind of application, you have to test it out on all kinds of screens, right? From a tablet to mobile, and mobile also has 6.1 inch, 5 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, all kinds of screens. So device farm will provide you a virtual mobile of any virtual mobile whatever you want. For example, you want to test your application on iOS device, so this device farm will provide you that. You can test all your applications on that, Okay. Then we have database services. So anyone from database side here? Anyone who has experience working on any kind of database? No? Okay, so database means relationship database system. For example, you want to store data in the failure tabular format, then you can have RDS. If you want to have NoSQL format, then DynamoDB, right? Then we have simple DB. Redshift is a data warehousing or a data analytics framework or data warehouse tool which provided by AWS. Then we have other enterprise application, for example, Workspace, Workdocs, similar to Outlook or Gmail. And the funny thing is AWS doesn't use them for themselves. So if you are following AWS on news, you would have heard that they have now 10 billion or $1 billion deal with the Outlook, for their own company. So they themselves do not use it, but they do provide this service. Okay, moving on. So so this cloud practitioner exam, where does it fall? Right, so this falls under the foundational part. So these are all the examinations which AWS which are taken by AWS, starting from foundational to associate and then professional exam. So foundational is cloud practitioner exam. It is the basic form of exam. So here you do not need to have a very deep understanding of cloud practitioner of all the services, but you should know the overview of all the services. You should know that what each service does, right? On top of that, we have associate exam where you should have some understanding or knowledge, and you should know how exactly those multiple services connect to each other, right? In that case, we have solutions architect, system operations engineer, and the developer exam, right? And if you go even further, then you're a professional. There you should have very deep knowledge of each service provided by AWS, right? Other than these, we have specialty exam as well. So big data, as well as saying EMR services, right? Analytics, all these. So if you have very deep understanding of these services and these database services, then you can give this big data exam. Then we have networking exam separately, security, machine learning, and maybe a Alexa exam as well. So these are all the examinations taken by AWS. And here we are on the foundational level. Any questions still here? Okay, moving on. So how exactly should we prepare for the exam? So the first and foremost thing is we need to understand how the exam is conducted, right? So we need to understand what are the topics and what kind of questions do they ask in the exam. Then after that only we can start preparing for the exam, right? Then the check your readiness. In the sense, there are a lot of questions or available on online which you can definitely go through and understand where you stand. Okay, so this is cloud practitioner exam. It is foundational level exam which will only ask for high level understanding of cloud services, right? So this is the starting point of all the AWS certifications, and you do not need any prior IT or cloud knowledge for this, right? So this is 90 minutes exam. 65 questions will be asked. A lot of them will be multiple choice questions as well, where you may need to select more than one answer, right? Then we have cost is 100 USD for this exam, and this is conducted by View. So you can give this exam offline as well as online, and these are all the languages supported by it, right? Okay, moving on. So these are some of the topics which will be covered in cloud practitioner exam, and I would want you to take a look at this thoroughly, because definitely you will be able to relate yourself. If you're working on IT, then you will be able to relate which particular cloud services you can work on or you are working on right now. Right. So first is benefits of AWS. You should know what are the benefits of using cloud services over your on-prem. So for example, if a company is already have their own servers, why would they move on to cloud? Right. That is a very basic question, and you should know the answer for this. Right? How exactly we can migrate? Why exactly we can migrate is a basic question, right? Then we have EC2 instances. They can ask you, like for example, they can ask that they have their own, a company has their own servers and they have deployed their own applications. How exactly can they deploy similar applications on cloud? Which particular service then they can use so that deploy their own applications? In that case, you know that EC2 is the basic server provided by AWS, and then anyone can deploy their applications there, right? So definitely the answer will be EC2. Then we have elastic load balancing. Then we have simple notification service. For example, you want to send out an email using your application. Which service will you use? You will use SNS, right? Notification service. Then you have a simple queue service. If you're building a streaming pipeline, a streaming data is coming, then which particular service will you use? You will use simple queue service, right? Then we have global infrastructure. What are availability zones? What are regions, right? They may ask you questions regarding what are the benefits of having availability zones, right? Then networking. A lot of questions may not come from here, but you should have good understanding of how networking work in AWS. Then storage and databases. There are a lot of storage services provided by AWS, starting from RDS, basic table structure data, then DynamoDB, S3, right? All the services. You should know the need of all these services. There's no need of, for this examination perspective, at least you don't need to worry about how exactly these works, right? But at least you should know that which particular service you should use. Then moving on, we have security. So you should know what are the benefits of having this shared responsibility. What is shared responsibility model? Can anyone give it a try? Shared responsibility.
இல்லைங்க, இது ஓப்பன் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் மாதிரி. கொரோனாக்கு முன்னாடிலாம் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் போட்டா நேர்ல போவோம். அப்பயுமே கம்மியா தான் போயிட்டு இருந்தேன்.
Hi Sudhindra, can you mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. So where was I? So yeah, so what is the shared responsibility model? So shared responsibility means that if you are using any service on cloud, there will be the responsibility of security will lie with two participants. One is the customer and second is the AWS itself. So almost all the services which we have in AWS will also be responsible for their security. For example, but they will have a clear segregation. Okay, what are the responsibilities of AWS and what are the responsibility of the customer? For example, if you're using any managed service, right, in that case the responsibility who can access that service will lie with the customer. But any attacks, right, any of the hacking attacks, that responsibility will lie with the AWS, so they should be responsible for that, right? Then we have multi-factor authentication. I think everyone knows you will get an SMS or call, or there are apps available, MFA, right? So multi-factor authentication, why do we need it? Why do we need identity and access management? This is here you will provide all the user information, right? Who exactly can access what all resources. That we are monitoring and alerting. So so you can see, okay, what all services are being used, if any service is down or not, if any service is giving you, if having a higher cost or not. So all those things you can have in monitoring analytics. Pricing and support, you may not get a lot of questions. Yeah, you can see on the right side in this box. So 12% of the questions you will get from billing, pricing and support. Most of them will be from cloud technology and services. Here that means that you should know what all technologies are there and what are the overview picture of them. Then we have security and compliance. This is a very important topic. You should definitely understand how exactly security works in AWS. Then we have basic cloud concepts. Cloud concepts are very generic concepts. As I said, the basic question, why do we need to migrate to cloud, right? So all these questions you can definitely expect in the examination. Okay, so in order to have the understanding of all these resources, obviously you'll have to go through go through online and see what all courses are available for you. But with my experience, I would say that the best thing you can do for yourself is that whenever you try to learn these resources, that do not think of the exam first. If you think of the examination and if you try to learn with the examination perspective, you may not be able to understand anything. Think it like how exactly can you implement yourself all these resources, right? For example, if I'm talking about databases, then why exactly we need RDS? Why not DynamoDB? Why not Redshift? And in this perspective, if you learn, then definitely you will be able to clear the exam. Okay. So we will move on to next, where we will have some of the sample questions, right? But before that, do you have any questions still here? No, we have some of the resources available for this exam in our Data Couch YouTube. Just in case, if you search for this particular cloud practitioner exam on YouTube, there will be a lot of resources available. You can definitely go through Data Couch channel and see all the resources. There is one more resource from Free Code Camp Earth. So that is, so Free Code Camp Earth is a channel as well on YouTube, where you can get a 13 hours comprehensive course on AWS Cloud Practitioner exam. So they will cover in 13 hours all the resources available on AWS. And I can guarantee, if you spend 2 hours a day for 2 weeks in only in that particular YouTube video, then you will be definitely be able to cover this exam, right? So because they will explain almost all the resources which are there available in the AWS. So that is Free Code Camp Earth. You should definitely give it a try. Yes, yes. They will be the latest exam topics covered by them. Yes. These topics are also the latest one which we are talking about here. Yes. Yeah, the certification, there will be a validity. I'm not very sure if it is 2 years. Many of the times it will be 1 year only. But I guess you can take a look. Yeah, you can I can provide you the link as well if you want. Or maybe you can search for Free Code Camp Earth. Some of them will be 3 years, some of them will be 2 years. I will quickly check it out. How many years will this be? Yes, once the validity is over, you'll have to give the exam again. Yeah, that is the idea. You'll have to give the exam again. Okay, yeah, I will share the link of the video which I'm talking about from Free Code Camp Earth. But moving on, we can have uh, some sample questions, right? I would really want you to give answer of this. Doesn't matter what kind of answers you give. Just give. You can just type A, B, C, or D, right? Okay, anything A, B, C, or D. So the first question is: a business analyst would like to move away from creating complex database queries and static spreadsheets when generating regular reports, right? They would like to publish insightful, graphically appealing reports with interactive dashboards. Which service can they accomplish? Okay. The Kiran says the answer is D. Okay. So let us see. Now, there are some keywords. Let us see how exactly we can approach this exam. Okay. These questions. So now you can see there is away from creating complex database queries. Okay. Makes sense. You don't want to write queries and generate numbers, and you do not want to share the numbers itself in a spreadsheet. You want insightful, graphically appealing reports, right? And dashboard. Right now, there are four questions they have. There are four sample answers they have. It's not sample, but options they have provided. Right. First is business intelligence on Amazon Redshift. If we know what exactly Amazon Redshift does, right? In that case, we will know that okay, Redshift is not the answer because it is a data warehouse tool and it will not fit the requirement of building dashboards, right? It is a data warehouse tool. So we will know that okay, Redshift is not the answer. That is for sure, right? Then we have CloudWatch dashboards. Now it does look like a dashboard it's there, and then we are talking about interactive dashboards. Why not this? But the point is, these dashboards are provided by AWS, which will provide you system resources and infrastructure services. For example, if your if your AWS Redshift is working fine or not, right? If your other things are working fine or not, how much are they working? So all those things you can provide on CloudWatch dashboards. You cannot build your dashboards on top of your data on CloudWatch. This is for system. Then we have Amazon Athena, right? But we know that AWS Glue is a fully managed ETL framework where you extract the data, transform the data, and load the data somewhere, right? And Athena is to store DDL of the data stored in it. So if the data is stored in S3, right, and you want to query the data, then you can use AWS Athena. We cannot build any dashboard using Athena and Glue, right? And finally, if you know anything about QuickSight, you will know that this is the service they are providing, fully managed service provided by AWS, where you can build your own dashboards available on data. Now the data can be available anywhere. Data can be available in AWS, Amazon Redshift, or Athena or S3, right? So data can be there, but you can build your dashboard only using QuickSight. So the correct answer is D. Okay, so this is how you need to approach this particular examination. You need to remove the answers which you know that they are not definitely not this, because out of these four, if you only knew three, then definitely you know that fourth is the answer, right? So this is how we need to approach this exam. So now let us take some sample questions. Cool. I really like that you guys are answering here, and many of you have answered D. One is one plus. Nice name, by the way. Kiran. Right? Super. So now, so you work for a real-time processing analysis organization. Real-time processing. What is real-time processing? When the data is coming in a real time. For example, you are getting the feed from Twitter. So Twitter, you're getting real-time data from Twitter, right? If you have access to some of the Twitter APIs, you can get real-time data. So that is real-time processing. And your company given you brief of designing system with various interconnected microservices. So which AWS product do you promote to lose coupling between them? Now, see, again, we will go by the same technique which we learned above. IAM is the service which you use for identity access, who can access your resources, right? Beanstalk is the service where you can deploy your applications. CloudTrail is if you want to understand who exactly, if you want to go through the cloud logging part, right? Then we are left with SQS, that is simple queue service, where you can queue all the messages in real time, and then you can process them as you can, right? So we know that simple queue. So we just know the definition of SQS now here, right? SQS, real time processing, right? So that's all I know. So that is the reason we know real time processing. If anything comes, if the answer is and options has SQS, high chances that SQS will be the answer, right? Good. Kiran, Sarvanan, 1 plus again. Nice. So SQS is the answer. Okay, next question. So you're working for an e-commerce company named WMart. What service would you use to suggest if they want to host the relational database in AWS? Okay, but let Amazon manage the operating system. Yeah, keyword loosely coupled as well. Okay, what could be there? This answer? Any idea? Kiran has answered. Anyone else? Okay, Shandan, Sekhar. Okay, nice. RDS, relational database system, right? Because EC2, definitely you can build your own database on top of EC2, but here they're saying managed by AWS. AWS managed, right? You do not want to build your own instances on EC2. Managed by, so this is one keyword here, right? Relationship database is another keyword here, right? Redshift, no doubt, is a data warehouse, but this is for analytics, not relation. It is relationship only. But if they are talking about data warehouse, data analytics, in that case, you can go with Redshift. And DynamoDB is not relationship database. It is a NoSQL database. We all know, right? Good. Moving on. Then your organization want to archive some EMR data for long term, right? You have EMR is huge data you have, right? For example, and don't need to access it frequently. Which of these services would you use? There is some data available and you do not want to use it, but you want to keep it, of course, right? Because you don't want to, maybe later on you may require the data. So what would be the best service? Though, so what are the keywords here? Let us see. Keywords are don't need access to it frequently, right? One keyword. Second is EMR data. So when I say EMR, so if you know anything on EMR, you will know that the EMR processing huge amount of data. So that means we are talking about huge amount of data, right? Right. And we need to archive it. DynamoDB, obviously we cannot archive EMR data. That is no SQL database, right? Elastic Beanstalk, we are not deploying any application. Then we have AWS Glacier. So now this is AWS S3 Glacier, right? And then AWS S3 has some of these. So we can save data on S3 in multiple forms. For example, if you are accessing the data very frequently, then you can use S3. If you are using the data and infrequently, maybe once in a year or twice in a year, right? In that case, we have something known as S3 infrequently access. That means you can store your data in S3, but whenever you require, AWS will make sure that you are getting the data in minutes, very quickly. But if you want to store the data like a glacier, like you just know the data is available, but if you want to, you are not accessing it at all, right? You don't need to access it frequently, right? So that means you need to go with AWS Glacier, so that the reason being you don't want to spend any amount of money on it. Glacier will be the cheapest option available with this, right? So this is for archiving data that doesn't require frequent access, because in case if you need access to this particular data, then then it will take some time for the retrieval, maybe several hours, right? Infrequent access means what? Not very frequently, but maybe you may require it in maybe once in 2 years, once in a year, or twice in a year, right? You may require. In that case, you don't want to wait for several hours, right? But if you know that you may not even need this data for the next 5 years, right? Maybe you need, maybe high chances you will not need. So you have go with the AWS Glacier. That will be the cheapest option. And if you require it, then it will take several hours for AWS to retrieve it for you. Okay. So just because there is frequent and frequent doesn't mean the frequent is the answer. That is why you should know which particular service is used for what particular purpose, right? Then your organization has created a single sign-on system. Yeah, that was tricky. Uh, to enhance security on their portal, right? They have hired you and want to further secure the login process. Beyond username and password, what would you use? 4. Kiran says 4. Aliv also says 4. Multi-factor, okay. Veda also, Subhash also says 4. Why not on-site eye scan? I think that should be a good option. What do you say? Have retina scanner everywhere. So automated phone call, of course not. Or on-site eye scan, fancy, but no. Additional passwords, we already have a password. Why wouldn't we require another password? Then multi-factor authentication, okay. So this is the industry norm where we have multi-factor authentication. We can use SMS in that case, or we can use MFA apps as well, right? Multi-factor authentication. Okay, so DC Infotech have 2 AWS accounts, okay? One for production, one for development. So how would you view the billing for both of these accounts as one single bill? Biometric not possible? Yeah, it's not possible. Okay, both of these accounts is one single bill. So now here we should know the keyword, because joint billing, right? Joint billing looks fine. AWS will clash maybe. Multi-account, if you try to guess, you may not be able to guess, right? So that is the reason you should know the keyword for this. If you go through the resources or AWS, or if you go through the course which I'm talking about, right? If you try to learn for each service, then you will know that, okay, there is something known as consolidated billing. Good. Kiran server run. So consolidated billing is the key here. So now you know, okay, the correct answer is consolidated billing, right? Cool. Next question. So a company wants to deploy a photo sharing application. What service is best suited for storing static content such as photos? What do you say? Nice. Kiran is fast. He says 2. AWS is 3. What about you guys? Shekhar 2, Veda 2. Yeah, good, good. S3. Why not RDS? Can't we use RDS to store photos? Can we? Can we store use RDS in any way possible? Is there any way possible we can use RDS? Yes, it is relational. It is relational DB, not possible. We are storing data there in the form of tables, right? So not possible. Good. Satish. Nice. So your company, next question is, your company wants to deploy a photo sharing application. Okay, we just did it. An organization is looking for a scalable, fully managed NoSQL database for storing and retrieving customer information. So now, what is the keyword here? Okay, can somebody tell what is the keyword here? Keyword. I'm looking for keyword. NoSQL, fully managed. Good. NoSQL is a keyword. Makes sense. Fully managed. Another keyword. Good point. Right? When we say fully managed, that means AWS is responsible for maintaining that particular database, right? So Aurora is one such service, fully managed, right? RDS is not fully managed, Redshift is fully managed, and DynamoDB is fully managed, right? Aurora can be the answer if it was not NoSQL but SQL. If it was relational database, in that case we would go with Aurora. If it was data analytics data warehouse, we would go with Redshift. But as it is NoSQL database, we'll go with DynamoDB. That is why you should know the keywords. When you will learn about these technologies, you will grab these keywords. Okay, DynamoDB, that means NoSQL, right? Okay, always, most of the time, answer will be DynamoDB. I don't think there is any other service provided by AWS where they have NoSQL databases other than DynamoDB, right? For relationship database, we have RDS and Aurora. But if it is fully managed, then we will go with Aurora, right? Then we have data analytics, we'll have Redshift, right? So this is how we need to work on these exams, right? Okay, next question. A business analyst would like to move away from creating complex database queries and static spreadsheets when generating, okay, regular. Is it the same question which we just did? Do you guys remember? Same question. Right. So what's the answer? So what is the answer? Fourth. Yeah. QuickSight. QuickSight is the answer. Okay. Can anyone give me, can just write it down? Why do we need CloudWatch? Any keyword? Just write keywords. Good, Alif. Good, Kokul. Keywords. CloudWatch is for AWS services. Good. Cool. So these were some of the questions we had for sample questions, but now you know that this is how you can expect the questions, right? All those questions, you will not directly get the question, what is QuickSight? You will have some kind of a scenario in that question and you need to find the keywords and then connect those keywords with the options available. So this is how you're going to prepare for the exam as well as go through this exam. Right. Okay. So with this, we have come to an end of this preparation. So what have we learned from here? So we learned how exactly we can approach the exam, how exactly we need to learn all the resources available in AWS, and also we need to understand how exactly we will approach the questions whenever it come. So the idea is always have a keywords in mind whenever you will learn these resources. Whenever if you go with the YouTube videos or anything, try to write down the keywords. DynamoDB, NoSQL, relationship database, RDS, Aurora, right? All this, have these kinds of keywords. Make a map out of it. And whenever you will try to give this exam, you will know that, okay, if the question is related to NoSQL, the answer has to be or should be NoSQL, right? So this is how we need to. Where can we find more? It was a really interesting. Thank you so much, Kiran. Yeah, see, there are tons of questions available. You just need to Google it. I don't even need to provide you any particular link. There are a lot of websites available, including exam topics, right? And yeah, so if you want me to write it down, I will write it down. Exam topics is one, then pass and exam is another website where you will get some questions, right? And then there were other websites available as well. But I would really suggest you to first go through any course available on our data couch website or data couch YouTube channel, or maybe you can obviously search on YouTube for this free code camp earth, right? Channel where you'll have 13-14 hours long course only dedicated to this particular AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, right? And then we have a lot of other meetup sessions coming up as well. We will have a very deep sessions coming up as well very soon on this Cloud Practitioner exam. And then you can always subscribe to our meetup channels. I think Harshit has already pinged you in the chat. So another question was, can you please share for resources for preparing? Yeah, as I said, you don't need a lot of resources for this particular exam. Go through YouTube, see all the videos you have there, right? Write down the keywords and then start giving the questions. Maybe spend 2 weeks on those videos, write down all the resources. You should know before giving the sample questions, sample answers, right? Before trying these questions, you should know the answer. We should know all these resources first. So go through your YouTube, any of the YouTube channel free of course. Go through our data couch channel if you want. Then you can see all the videos, write down all these points, and then maybe start preparing. And then all the questions you can easily get on Google if you want. I'm a BPO sector, would like to change my career in cloud platform or operating site like admin role. So we'll get AWS practitioner certification and get a job. Definitely you will get the you will gain a lot of experience learning of AWS resources. See, you have to start from somewhere, right? And this is really good point of getting started. Doesn't matter in which field you are, doesn't matter if you are working somewhere or not working in IT field. If you want to get started, I would say that this is the best option you have. Go through this particular practitioner exam. You will have a really good understanding of how exactly things work, and then based on that you can move forward. If you really want to go with admin role or developer role or a system operations role, right, at least you will get the understanding of that. Oh, 51. Oh, okay. So you need these, so out of 65 questions you're saying that we need 51. I don't think that will be that is released anywhere, right? Okay. Uh, with that, any other question do we have? Any questions? Cricket score. Okay. Sorry, you should have mentioned 51 per 4 is a good score. I hope we win. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do after this. Okay, any other question? Cool. If not, then I think we will close this session. Thank you so much for joining in. Please reach out to us on these links available. We are available on YouTube. We are available on Data Couch. We are there in Meetup anywhere. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alif. Thank you, Kiran. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Paz. Thank you. Thank you, Ruchika. Thank you, Sachin. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you, Day. Bye bye.